Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be me telling you about the 8 books I read in the month of July, which 2 of them are Kindle, so that's why they're not on the stack. But I read a total of 8 books, 2 fantasy, 6 romance, and I really had a great reading month, so I'm excited to tell y'all all about the books that I read. The first book I read, I started off with a bang, okay? It was Happy Place by Emily Henry, and I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars because I loved it so bad. It's about Wynn and Harriet, and they have the same friend group. They got engaged and they broke up, but the friend group does not know, and they go on this trip every year, so they have to go to the trip and act like they're still engaged. That's all I'm gonna say, but it was really good, and I gave it 5 out of 5 stars because I'm obsessed with that book and the storyline, and I felt so seen and heard in that book, and I just really love their story, and everything about that book was amazing to me. After I finished the book, I could not stop thinking about it, and I still think about it to this day, a month later. The next book I read was actually a novella, and it was Powerful by Lauren Roberts. This book follows Adina, who is Peyton's best friend, and you're in the same timeline as Peyton during the trials. So this book follows what Adina's doing during that time. And I thought it was super cute. The writing was really good in this book. It was really beautiful. There was a lot of quotes that I did like, and I was like, dang, I wish I annotated my book so that I could go back and look at this quote again. But I did enjoy the book overall. I will say there were some times where I was like, this is moving a little slow. But it's a novella, and to me, they typically are pretty slow, so I wasn't too surprised with that, but I did enjoy the writing, and I did love the sprinkle of romance we got in here. The next book I read was a book on my Kindle, and it was Heartless by Elsie Silver. Heartless is the second book in the Chestnut Spring series, and it follows Cade and Willa. Cade is a dad, and he has a son, and he needs a nanny for his son, so Willa decides or offers to nanny for him. And yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. Real grumpy kind of sunshine vibes, but not really sunshine. I don't even know, just real cute story. Cowboys, summer, romance, a little bit of sprinkle of laughter in there, and a cute adorable child, and it was so cute. I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars because I really enjoyed it. The next book I read was People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. After reading Happy Place and giving it 5 stars, I was like, let me try again and see if I can get another 5 star from her. I sadly did not, but I did enjoy the book. So this book follows Poppy and Alex, and they are 2 best friends who have been best friends for years, and they go on these trips together all the time. And 2 years ago, they were on a trip and something happened, and they stopped talking. They just stopped being best friends. They didn't talk to each other again, and we don't know what happened or why they stopped talking. So we basically are trying to figure that out throughout this book as they go on one final trip together. I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars as well. A lot of 4 out of 5 stars this month, which is still an amazing rating, okay? Still good. The next book I read was Maybe in Another Life by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Y'all, this was the first book by her that I did not like. I'm sorry if you like this book, but I did not like it. And let me tell you why. So this book follows a girl named Hannah, and she's 29. She has no idea what she wants to do with her life. She goes back to LA, and she goes out with her bestie, and she sees a guy that she used to talk to, and he offers to take her home. So there's 2 scenarios. There's one scenario where she goes home with him, and another scenario where she goes home with bestie. And the book follows both pathways. Which you read that and you're like, that's such a cool idea. I love that. And I thought I would eat this book up because I watched Look Both Ways on Netflix, and I was obsessed with that movie, and it follows a similar plot line. So I was like, duh, I'm gonna love this book. And I was so wrong. I loved the writing in this book, and that's why I finished it, because I did really enjoy the writing, but I did not like the main character at all, and I did not like her decisions at all. So I could not find it in me to enjoy this book or like it. And yeah, that's what it was. I ended up giving it 2.5 stars, and yeah. The next book I read in the month of July was Reckless by Lauren Roberts. This was a much anticipated read for this year, so I was excited to get my hands on this book. This book is the second book in the Powerless trilogy, and y'all, I did like it, okay? I did enjoy the book, but it did not give me what I needed it to give me, if that makes sense. I can't tell you what this is about because it's the second book, but I can tell you that I did enjoy the book. I loved the romance, I loved the writing, I loved the banter. I, however, did not like the lack of fantasy or action in this book. I found it to be very predictable, and yeah, I guess a lot of the book, I guess the ending, I guess like this, the back and forth and throughout the whole book, it was very repetitive, so I didn't like that. But the writing was beautiful, and the romance, I'm always like, I'm not complaining at all about the amount of romance I got in this book with Kai and Peyton, because it was, I love them. I love Kai. I can never be upset with getting a bunch of romance between them. Okay, with all that said, I gave it 3.5 stars because I did still enjoy it, and I am very excited for the next book, but it just was not my favorite. Okay, the next book I read in the month of July was another book on my Kindle, and it was Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. Y'all, I've been hearing about Abby Jimenez for a minute now, and I tried her like a month or two ago, and I was like, I love the writing, didn't like the character, couldn't finish the book. But this book, the character and the writing ate together. It was amazing. I loved Part of Your World. Basically, I'm gonna try to tell y'all what it's about, but just not spoil it, so I'm only gonna say a little bit. It's about a girl and a guy. The girl is older than the guy by like 9 years, and she's a doctor while he is a carpenter. So two different fields, two different worlds that they live in, and they try to combine and like be together, but their worlds just don't line up. So that's what the book is about, basically. I loved it so bad. It was so good. It was so good. It was so good. It was so cute. It was so good. I loved the book. I loved the little small town aspect of it. I loved the characters, the side characters in the book. They were all just so fun. It felt so real. When I was reading Part of Your World, I felt like I was watching a movie in my head, and I love when books do that to me. I love when I can like fully picture everything that's going on in my head when I'm reading a book, and it takes me just out of this world and into a whole nother world. Like I feel like I'm jumping into a novel, and that was so fun. And that's why I gave the book 4.25 stars. I really enjoyed it, and I can see myself continuing that interconnected series and picking up yours truly next, so we shall see. And then I read one more book this month, and it was definitely probably my favorite book of the month because I love it so bad, and it was Saving Six by Chloe Walsh. This is the third book in the Boys of Tommen series, or Tommen. Is it Tommen or Tommen? I don't know. I say Tommen. I say Tommen, but it's probably Tommen. But this is the third book in the series, and it follows Joey Lynch, who is Shannon's brother. Y'all, oh my gosh, Joey has my whole heart. He can do no wrong in my eyes. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Joey and Aoife, they're top tier to me. They are top tier to me. I could reread this book 1,000 times and never get tired of it. I will reread this book 1,000 times. I love this book. I love his story. I love him. Again, he can do no wrong in my eyes. I cannot tell you what this is about. It basically, so Binding 13 and Keeping 13 follows Shannon and Johnny. This one follows Joey and Aoife. And they have another book as well, but this is their first one. And this book kind of, it's Joey's story. So it starts where his story needs to start. And then we also get into stuff that happens in the first book, which is Binding 13. So, but it's not repetitive. I promise you, it's not. You don't read it and you're like, oh my God, I already read this point. Like, can we get past this? No, you read it and you're like, oh, this is what was going on whenever that happened. Like, y'all, please read this book. I love it so bad. Please read this series. Please read. It's not very plot heavy though. It's more so like character driven, real day-to-day life, but it's a lot going on in these books. And look up trigger warnings if you read this series, because again, it's a lot going on in these books. But I love this book so bad. If I could give this 100 out of 5 stars, I would. If I could give it 1,000,000 stars, I would, because I love it so much. I have become obsessed with Joey Lynch, and he's added on my list of fictional boyfriends. He's top of the list now. So yeah, that's all the books I read this month. And as you can see, I had a really good reading month. Yeah, I'm excited to see what I end up reading in the month of August, and if I get more 5 stars, 4 stars, hopefully no 2 stars, but you know, we can only hope. But yeah, thank you guys so much for coming for today's video, and I hope I can see you in the next one.